Glee and me, 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 Glee and me.
Last Tuesday, Glee premiered its third season. You all knew this, unless of course you don't have indoor plumbing. Or a gay relative. I was excited but nervous for the season premiere, since Glee and I have endured a complicated two-season relationship with many ups, Idina Menzel, OMG, and many downs. Mr. Shu's leaving again? The premise for this episode is a story we've all lived, really. Mr. Shu plants purple pianos throughout McKinley, and any members of the Glee Club must sing their hearts out if they spot one. This idea really brought me back to my days as a high school thespian. OMG guys, look! A purple piano! We should sing something! Turns out, the purple pianos were really just an elaborate metaphor to distract you from all the members of Glee Club that have mysteriously disappeared. Apparently, Puck's scary girlfriend finally found something better to do, and Sam Troutmouth Evans is now a transfer student at a school in another town. Meanwhile, Quinn is MIA too? Luckily, she appears 5 minutes in, having discovered her rebellious streak as a Lady Gaga impersonator. Thankfully, amidst everyone dropping like flies, Kurt coerces his boyfriend to transfer to McKinley so they can be in the same Glee Club, thereby earning equality for gays everywhere. Glee promises season 3 is fresh, but I've developed a theory that most of the season premiere was definitely copied and pasted. I'd like to review these dramatic doppelgangers now in a game that I like to call Scenes We've Seen. In Scenes We've Seen number 1, head diva Mr. Shu promises the group their best year yet, boosting morale with a simple strategy. Let's sing in public when no one wants us to. Right? Right? Guys? Will somebody please add this to the Glee drinking game? In Scene We've Seen number 2, Rachel reaches out to Lady Quinn Gaga and reminds her that Glee Club is a family. We just can't make it to sectionals without you, Quinn. And everyone takes a shot. In Scene We've Seen number 3, Ryan Murphy's latest attempt at social relevance appears in the form of an auditioner with Asperger's. According to Glee, Asperger's consists of literally saying Asperger's before and at the ends of blunt statements that you make. It also requires that you be a plot device reminiscent of that quadriplegic guy from season 1. Take a shot. Last but not least, there's the scene we've seen later in the episode after Sue has threatened Glee, when Mr. Shu marches into the principal's office. You can't do this to these kids. Just when you think you're watching repeats, one of the purple pianos lights on fire! To the show's credit, this episode does continue an encouragement of young people's interest in the arts, an encouragement usually marked by creating unrealistic expectations of high school performing arts programs. Seriously though, I'm supposed to believe Sue Sylvester's propaganda is cutting the club's budget, meanwhile Kurt's able to book a 12-piece band and the school's 1,000-seat auditorium for an impromptu performance of Ding Dong the Witch is Dead? Who is in charge of burning through all this money for a program nobody really wants? Julie Taymor? I digress. This year, Glee has pushed away from creating unrealistic expectations of high school performing arts programs and straight forward to creating unrealistic expectations of colleges performing arts programs. Rachel and Kurt discuss with Emma where they might apply to college in September of their senior year. Rachel, the ultimate musical theater nerd, somehow doesn't know that Juilliard doesn't have a musical theater program. Unless, of course, you're Patti LuPone. At Emma's suggestion, Rachel and Kurt decide to check out NIAUDA, some imaginary school in New York with a really long acronym that doesn't spell anything. Secretly, NIAUDA is a hotel where they filmed the Glee project. It's at this point in the episode where a chorus of tap-dancing divas in training belt their faces off to a musical theater mashup of Cole Porter and Irving Berlin. The Anything Goes sequence of Glee's Season 3 premiere was without a doubt one of the most well-done numbers in recent history. It featured impeccable choreography, polished but non-electronic voices, and a clever arrangement of two musical theater classics. This is not to mention that the scene features one of Lea Michele's best performances to date, while she sits there and watches someone just as talented as her take over the stage. If you look closely, it looks as though she just found out that she didn't get cast in the Wicked movie or something. Seriously though, why don't they just paint her green already? Tap dancing too loudly over Cole Porter's lyrics makes you miss how much he can tell us in a few words. In olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked on as something shocking, but now God knows anything goes. Of course, Porter originally wrote Anything Goes as a comment on the Roaring Twenties, but today, Anything Goes seems to be the motto of Glee's writing team more than anything else. Asperger's.
Ba da 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 ba 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 ba.